What would a wise person say about your poor finances and the reason you don't have much money? He or she would suggest that you should question whether your knowledge, ideas, and beliefs about money and its management are completely wrong. In the same way, what would a wise person say about why things are going poorly in your relationships? He or she would likely suggest that your knowledge, approach, and beliefs about relationships might be completely wrong. What often happens when we fail repeatedly in our various life goals, such as in the case of relationships or entrepreneurship, is that the root cause is often a lack of wise or optimal vision. The issue might be following a completely wrong approach due to a deep misunderstanding of how things actually work. And in the end, life proves to be very fair and teaches us through harsh realities. This is what makes you keep bumping into reality without realizing which stone you keep tripping over. This often happens when we act on autopilot, executing a mental program of inherited ideas and beliefs, a construct passed down from generation to generation, without any questioning or reflection, and which turns out to be profoundly misguided. We are witnessing a significant crisis with an epidemic of separations and divorces in the West. It appears that something is fundamentally not working for a substantial portion of society. And what is the dilemma of many people? That they wish to love and feel loved, but they haven't quite achieved success in their personal relationships. What is essential for human beings is to feel connected with their essence and their loved ones, but somehow it seems that traditional notions of love do not allow for this. While it works for many, there are many people who need to learn to love in a different way. Generation after generation, the collective subconscious perpetuates social patterns without questioning or reasoning. Once again, collapse arrives. Let's reflect. Could it be that traditional beliefs don't work for everyone and that we need to love others in a way that aligns with the true nature of human beings, rather than simply conforming to social standards? It is surreal how two people who supposedly loved each other can come to hate each other, as we are seeing. Divorces bring out the worst in our human condition. A proof of this is matrimonial lawyers, who, unfortunately, as a result of their professional activity, have become one of the most cynical groups on the planet. So, once again, we continue to perpetuate social models without much questioning. Of course, traditional models work for many people but not for all, and now it turns out that we face a deep and evident crisis. Once again, we must transcend the ego, that psychological construct we have been discussing in other videos, that mental program with which we operate on autopilot without much awareness or reasoning. And how do we transcend the ego? By questioning our limiting beliefs and rationalizing the foundations of the principles and values on which we base our lives, which often lead us to live on autopilot. We need to stop following established patterns without questioning them and start finding more natural solutions. Psychology tells us that one of the most powerful limiting beliefs influencing our collective unconscious is the notion that we must find in the loved one our complement, that we are not complete beings in ourselves but rather need the other half to complete our lives. We deeply believe that we need to share our lives with someone else to feel complete. Driven by an irrational need, we often project all our illusions about happiness onto our partner. To be happy, we do not need a fantastic and romantic love, nor do we need it to feel complete. This is a completely mistaken idea deeply rooted in the collective subconscious of our society. Psychology shows us through numerous scientific studies how essential it is for human beings to feel connected, both with our own essence and also with our loved ones, as both types of connections provide the deepest causes of happiness in a person. However, we do not need romantic and fantastical love to be happy or to feel complete. In reality, we need very little to be happy, contrary to the general belief often held in the West. We do not need a lot of money, nor do we even need good health to be happy. What we primarily need is to connect with our essence and life purpose, and with other loved ones. These are solid sources of happiness. Falling in love is a chemical and biological process that drives us to perpetuate the species. The sensation of being in love, which initially captivates and hypnotizes us at the beginning of a relationship, gradually fades if it is not grounded in true pillars of love. Often, when this enchantment fades, many people abandon relationships, feeling like junkies in desperate search of love. The more existentially empty a person is, the greater their tendency to fall in love, but for the wrong reasons, to fill their existential void. However, falling in love has a very different function. It is a biochemical reaction of the brain and an enchantment that captures us. Nature drives you to obsess over a particular individual and to want to be with that person long enough to reproduce and perpetuate our species. That is the natural impulse. While we are in love, we often do not see the other person for who they truly are. What usually happens is a series of projections of one's own delusions based on false beliefs deeply embedded over generations and fueled by Hollywood movies and fantastical novels. We create projections and expectations, idealizing how the other person will fulfill our expectations. Then, suddenly, we see that reality does not meet these fantastical expectations, and the next common step is trying to change the other person. From this mistaken belief, very toxic relationships emerge, where codependency and false expectations are created. Many treat their partner as if they were their father, mother, therapist, or some kind of dumping ground where they are supposed to unload their life's frustrations. This is typically when conflict begins: arguments, reproaches, and frustrations. Many people go through a hellish cycle of relationships where the same formula repeats: a great expectation followed by great frustration, leading to tons of conflict and suffering, and ultimately, inevitable separation. The lack of awareness, the lack of self-knowledge and self-love, and the search for a partner as a complement. The fear of loneliness. The search for a partner is often driven by the fear of being alone. Schopenhauer said, "The social instinct of human beings is not motivated by love for society but by the fear of loneliness." Therefore, there is a fear that subconsciously drives us to seek another person to fill that void. And what happens? Does it sound familiar to you, these typical silly situations that we sometimes hear in romantic songs or from friends and family? "I don't want to be with her, but I can't stand seeing her with others." Or here's a very good one: "I can't live with you or without you." Well, then how can you live? Funny or silly, right? These ego-driven and enslaving behaviors are based on unhealthy attachments and codependencies, toxins that we have normalized over generations, perpetuating them. We have normalized a fantastic love known as romantic love, which is not love, it is something else entirely. We do not know how to love. From there, how do we fit this into a life of awareness? Then, before considering the search for a partner, it is crucial to undergo a process of introspection and self-awareness and to learn from solitude. Delve deeply into yourself. Any relationship will not work if we are not okay with ourselves. Romantic relationships are not a solution to fix our emotional deficiencies and lack of self-love. So first, be alone. Look at yourself, get to know yourself, cultivate self-love, and truly discover what you enjoy and what makes you feel alive. Live your own life, and from there, when you are riding the wave of self-contentment, we can talk about love and friendship, about sharing and celebrating, about starting relationships and shared projects from a place of maturity and awareness. The journey proposed by mindful love goes far beyond the idea of complementing two people from a place of scarcity and lack of self-knowledge. Love is a verb and is very different from "I love you" and "I want and need something from you." This is not love, it comes from outside in. I love you because I feel empty, I feel scarcity and attachment, and I cling to you, creating this dependency as a solution because I believe I need you. Jiddu Krishnamurti tells us that the only authentic and lasting relationship in our lives is with ourselves, and that all other relationships are nothing but a game of mirrors and projections. What does this mean? It means that our relationships, whether romantic, friendly, familial, or with acquaintances, function as a game of mirrors, reflecting information about ourselves. They are essential in our journey of introspection and self-knowledge. If, after a long list of relationships with ex-partners, you seem to keep encountering the same issues, such as jealousy, these failures will provide you with information on how you function or how your ego and deepest fears manifest. Try to learn from all your ex-partners and avoid falling into the same trap again. We first need to engage in a process of introspection, truly getting to know ourselves and understanding what we want in life at a deep level. We need to know who we are, what we need, and how we function. Prioritize addressing your own emotional needs first, taking care of your body, mind, and spirit. When you love yourself and are filled with self-love, then you have so much more to share, conscious and mature love. Then comes calm love, free from jealousy, manipulation, control, and social failure, which is the main trigger for the abrupt breakups we are witnessing today. What is happening? Then analyze how you are with your partner. Let's see. Do you have the same goals? The same values? No? Then what are you doing with this person if he or she is not right for you? If you are toxic for each other because you are causing harm to one another, it's not working. You have different goals, it's impossible because each of you will go your own way. So find someone who better fits your way of being, your goals, your values, and lifestyle. Because if that person clashes with these aspects, the wisest and best thing to do sometimes is to let them go if it's not working. Another type of person has issues in their relationships with people who could actually be a good fit, but due to their stubbornness, egocentrism, and selfishness, they struggle. Of course, they have naive ideas about what a relationship should be. To those people, it must be said, your partner is not your father or your mother. Your partner is an independent person, just like you, who joins you so that together you can create a more beautiful life than you would have on your own. A partner doesn't have to be your therapist or constantly support your emotional dependency, your selfishness, or endure your anger. A partner shouldn't become the dumping ground for all your mess and toxicity. Otherwise, eventually, your partners will become fed up with you or develop psychological issues like codependency. So, for those people, the advice is to realize all your self-centeredness and understand that one of the reasons your relationships are failing is your egocentrism. You're focused on yourself, and that makes it very difficult to connect with another person because you want everyone to adapt to you, but you don't adapt to anyone. A famous quote from Dale Carnegie said, "If you want to get honey, don't kick the beehive." So, if you want to start working towards real personal development, you must accept reality and live in accordance with it, rather than kicking against it. Either you accept that to be in a relationship you need to become more flexible and, above all, think more about the well-being of the other. Love is a verb. It's about supporting, serving, complimenting, etc. Or, if not, start realizing that if you don't change, nothing will change. Only if you change, everything changes. What seems to be another trigger in the epidemic of separations and divorces in the West? The absence of freedom in relationships. We speak of freedom in the sense that people can know themselves on a deep level and be aware of their essence. They listen to themselves and then, beyond conventional molds, freely choose how they want to love and connect with others. The extreme would be licentiousness and not usually the most effective. We speak of freedom with awareness, where there is no room for narcissism, where there is emotional responsibility and respect for the other. Let's say it's a friendship but with an added bonus. There is no single template or formula for success. Each person has the capacity for reflection, conversation, and communication. Then some couples will have a relationship that could be described as part-time, meaning they may not live together full-time. Others may live together but do not base faithfulness on monogamy. Instead, they agree on sexual freedom to the degree they establish. The possible combinations are infinite as long as they are based on respect, awareness, and love. Only in this way can we build mature relationships. If we are willing to share a potentially wonderful aspect of our lives, such as our intimacy, with another human being, it must be done in freedom and in a way that honors our uniqueness and allows us to be ourselves without limitations. Mindful loving must reflect an agreement on the uniqueness of both individuals so that they can love each other deeply and freely. Thank you for watching.